I call to order the January 2020 meeting of Media Borough Legislative Session of Media Borough Council. Please stand and join me in the pledge of salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us in our first regularly scheduled meeting of the year. We are starting our meetings a little bit early this year, both our workshop meeting as well as our legislative meeting. So if you plan to join us, either our workshop meeting, which is the first Thursday of each month, please be reminded that we will now start at 7 p.m. as opposed to 7:30 p.m. We'll still meet in the same room, second floor. Conference room. Our legislative meetings, such as tonight, will start at 7:30 as opposed to 8 p.m. third Thursday of each month, and the same room as always. So welcome for joining us. First, let's take care of some housekeeping matters. We have approval of 3 sets of meeting minutes. The first is for a special meeting that was for us to discuss potential projects for CDBG grant applications. That was held December 5. Do I have a motion to approve that set of meeting minutes as submitted?
Second.
Is there any discussion concerning the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the December 5, 2019 special meeting minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye. Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. That motion passes unanimously. Item number 2 is our workshop meeting minutes for this past month. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes as submitted?
So moved.
I'll take that as a second. Any discussion? Hearing no call for discussion. All those in favor of approving the workshop meeting minutes for December 2019 as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously. And the third housekeeping matter that we have is our council meeting minutes for this past month. Do I hear a motion to approve those as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the council meeting minutes from December 2019 as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously. And now is the time for public comment and privilege of the floor. If there's anyone here who wishes to address council, please stand at the microphone, tell us your name, where you live, and what's on your mind. And we do have a second public comment and privilege of the floor offered at the end of the tail end of the meeting, so if you wish to wait, you may do so. But if you do wish to speak now, you'll have to get up in front of the microphone. That's so the folks at home can hear you.
Hello, Paul Sheldon, 443 West Baltimore Avenue, right here in the borough. And I'm looking ahead to this item that's on the second page, number D, something about an ordinance for a temporary moratorium on chickens.
Yes.
I can't believe that we've had to come back to chickens. I do have sympathy for all of you here. But dealing with this, I do not see the reason for it. It's my understanding there's really only been one issue. And that's minor, by the way, compared to the issues of cats and dogs. And it's just, for a very progressive borough, I don't understand it. At the most, you could occasion significant complaints. I can't, we have 3 chickens, I can name them. I don't know if I want little name tags on them like dogs. We don't even do that for cats, I believe. But I guess chickens could have, I could get a chicken license. It seems a little weird. I do not really understand why this merits a moratorium. Thank you.
Sure. And I think that as you will hear when we discuss the motion, the purpose of the moratorium is on any additional chickens during a set period of time, so that when we do reach the ordinance and decide whether or not to amend it, in the meantime, things remain status quo. So if you have chickens now, you'll be permitted to have your chickens through to the time that through to the time that we make a change to our ordinance.
If I can comment, I understand that. I also recognize for 3 chickens, should one of our chickens die, we really need to bring in 2 more chickens. And rather than have our chickens die, I would do that. Let us hope it doesn't happen during the moratorium.
We join you in your hopes. All right, anybody else wish to address council at this time? Seeing that there are no takers, we'll move along then to the engineer's report. Mr. Mattson, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's great to be here. Just a couple of things to note. I had the opportunity to connect with Borough staff and get caught up on some various states of some different projects. I also did meet in the field with the folks from Structure Care for the garage. They're looking forward to implement phase 2 of that work in the upcoming months. So I'm looking forward to continuing the work in the garage. And I also had the opportunity to connect with Karen and our friends from MERS about implementing the wayfinding signage plan. So that's exciting. It should be on the slate for this year, in addition to a number of other capital plans. So again, thank you for the equipment. I'm honored to be here. Looking forward to an exciting 2020.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the engineer at this time?
I do. Mr. Engineer, from your understanding, phase 1 of the garage is complete and to the satisfaction of the borough and you as our engineer?
I think it's complete. The punch list items were complete. We walked it. We took a look at everything. It's a general satisfaction and compliance with what the plans and the specifications were. So, yeah, I'm satisfied with phase 1. Yes, and I think Structure Care so far has been doing a great job. It was something that this was a specialty company, and we were a little uncertain of how to move forward with bundling the garage. And I think that it's in very good hands with this company.
If there's any outstanding invoices, I would appreciate if council and staff could expedite them so that we can make sure that phase 2 gets off on a timely manner.
Certainly.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions for the engineer at this time? Seeing that there are none, we'll move along to the solicitor's report. Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not have anything to report. I thank you for the reappointment at the reorganization meeting.
Are there any questions for Mr. Scott at this time? Hearing none, we'll move along to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, let's see, attached, please find the summary of log of complaints for the police department for the month of December, total of 668, as well as a summary for the log total, which is, total for the year is 8920. One burglary occurred in December overnight on 12/29, an unknown actor forced entry by pushing in a window air conditioner at a local gas station in the 400 block of East State Street, stolen with a large quantity of cigarettes and other smoking products. Now, if everyone's got the same last page I did, I want to take a look at this. It's the burglaries in Media Borough, and as you will see, in 1978-79 we had over 200. We set our record this year, tied our record, the least amount in the last 40 years, and that is 2. So we had 2 burglaries this year. It's very upsetting that we had 2, but we had 2. So I just thought I'd note that for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not the officers, it's the new techniques that they're, no, I'm kidding. So, anyway, just thought I would point that out. You can see the whole list of every year. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does anyone have any questions for Mayor McMahon this time? There are none. We will move into the council committee reports. First up, Properties, Public Works, and Fire, Councilman Robinson.
As far as legislative agenda tonight, I have nothing. As I do every month, I would like to ask anybody who is listening tonight or watching tonight if they would wish to volunteer for the Media Fire Company, either as a firefighter and or as administrator. It would be greatly appreciated. Just one other short comment with regards to the fire company. I'm sure most people wouldn't remember because it's something you normally wouldn't, but on Christmas Day, about 5 o'clock, I'm sitting there getting ready to have dinner, and what did I hear? Fire whistles. So our volunteer firemen at 5 o'clock Christmas Day had to say goodbye to their families, get up, and go fight a fire to protect someone else. And this is when I think it's very important that we, the residents of the borough, recognize what these volunteers do for us. And I think it's so important that we contribute to the organization either with time, effort, and money. So that's my little comment for this evening. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Councilman Robinson at this time? Seeing that there are none, we will move along to the MDA, Historic, Public Safety, and Civil Service, which is Councilman Lisa Johnson.
Thank you. The first item on my agenda is ordinance number 1137. The annual traffic/parking ordinance amendments. And this is just a housekeeping item, really. It's to add certain handicap parking spaces and subtract certain ones. Just keep it in good order. So I make a motion to approve this ordinance.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and has been seconded. Is there any discussion concerning the motion? There's no call for discussion. I will call the question. All those in favor of approving ordinance 1137 of 2020, which will approve the annual traffic parking ordinance amendments, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The other item, Jeff, does this agreement have to be approved?
Yes, they're asking for council to approve it. If council does approve it, the council president and myself will both sign it electronically. Everything's done electronically, and this is for the audible traffic signal grant. The grant itself is in the amount of $100,000.
Okay,
And
thank
thank you to Karen Kozak-Lux, as usual, in securing grant funds for the borough.
you. Yes, thank you to Karen for sure. So this is a grant between the borough and the state, and it is for use of, I'll read this, it says the grant will be used for construction, equipment, and engineering costs associated with installing pedestrian signals, crosswalks, and ADA compliant curbs along Baltimore Avenue, Providence Road, and State Street, located in the borough. So it's a $100,000 grant, and it's specifically for audible traffic signals. So I make a motion to approve this agreement.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the grant agreement with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for audible traffic signals in the amount of $100,000, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Another question I have for you, Jeff, is we have a resignation on the MBA board. Do we the council need to approve that resignation before they can accept it?
Excuse me, generally speaking, council does approve all members to the MBA board, so
Right.
you in turn would accept the resignation as well, should there be somebody that wishes to step away.
I just wasn't sure of the timing, because the MBA had a meeting the other day, and they accepted with regret
Sure.
the resignation of Debbie Pitt. She's the treasurer of the MBA.
Yeah, generally
So
speaking,
I didn't know
council
whether they
would-
should do that first and then we approve, or,
I think basically this council would be the one, since you do appoint, you would be the ones to accept it as well.
okay, so I make a motion to accept Debbie Pitt's resignation to the MBA board with regret.
Second.
Motion has been made, has been seconded. Is there any discussion concerning the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the resignation of Debbie Pitt from the MBA with regret, of course, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right. Are there any questions for Councilwoman Lisa Johnson at this time? There are none. We'll move along then to Fair Trade, Farmers Market, Shade Tree, and EAC. Its Vice President Amy Johnson.
Thank you. Short agenda, nothing legislative this evening. But like I always do, I just like to remind everybody that the Media Farmers Market continues even through the winter months. There will be a market this Sunday from 10 to noon on Edgemont Street between Front and State. And so moving forward, it will be the first and third Sunday of every month all the way through April. So make sure to stop by, bundle up and stop by. That concludes my report.
There are, I was about to ask whether or not there are any questions, and indeed, it does appear that there are.
Okay, so the weather projection for Sunday is a little snow at all?
Saturday.
Saturday. And it looks like it's just flurry, but yes, that's a great question, Sarah. In the event that there would be inclement weather, like a snowstorm, you can always check their Facebook page and their website if the market will be held.
Are there any other questions for Councilwoman Amy Johnson at this moment? Seeing that there are none, we'll move on to Community Development, Historical Architecture Review Board, and the Media Arts Council. That's my portion of the agenda, and Vice President Amy Johnson will have the gavel. I've only one action item. It's Ordinance 1138 of 2020. It concerns a temporary moratorium on chickens in the Borough of Media. As many of you know, we have been discussing for several months now whether or not to amend our ordinance with regard to the keeping of chickens in the Borough of Media. That is working its way through committee, and we have received a fair amount of information already, as well as advice from borough professionals. We are still waiting to receive some additional information from the Board of Health, which I expect that we will receive later this month at the CDC meeting, which I believe is Tuesday the 28th. But until that time, we are concerned that while we're working through this, that additional chicken coops will be added to the borough. We think that it's wise that during our discussions that additional chicken coops not be permitted in the borough until such time as we have fully addressed this issue, and thus the temporary moratorium. It will not affect existing chicken coops throughout the borough. This prevents anyone from adding a chicken coop where there isn't one already in existence, and it will expire after 6 months' time. So I move that we adopt Ordinance 1138 of 2020, which would apply a temporary moratorium on chicken keeping in the borough.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I have a question. Brian, you mentioned a moratorium on chicken coops. Is there a moratorium on chickens?
It's on chickens. It's on the keeping of chickens and domestic fowl.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion?
So those who have the chickens now,
Or grandfather.
Their grandfather,
grandfather.
correct.
As to your current chickens.
Any other questions or
We're not
discussion?
making things hot for chickens currently.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of adopting ordinance 1138 of 2020 for a temporary moratorium on the keeping of chickens and domestic fowl, please say aye.
Yes.
If there's opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
That is the completion of my report.
Oh, wait a
Any
second.
questions for Fred? Yeah.
Didn't you say something about the arts? I thought I heard you say,
I don't know.
no.
One of his committees.
Yeah, one of his committees, but,
I have no announcements for the Media Arts Council this time.
but didn't they do, opening up the library?
I think they did.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Well,
And
You have the microphone there.
and I was told today, 2 of the paintings, not today, yesterday, and 2 of the paintings have sold.
All right.
And right there in the, so I thought you would want to share that wonderful information.
Well, I was going
We
to.
will let you do the report.
You already did it.
There
There goes your report, Sarah. You're
Any
done.
other questions for President Hall?
All right, we move along then to Recreation and Board of Health. That is Councilman Boyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Health did meet this week, and as President Hall mentioned, there will be some input coming into the CDC meeting. There was a lot of research done, a lot of homework done on behalf of the Board of Health members, so they will be adding their contributions toward the chicken ordinance at the CDC meeting. So I think Jean is going to be the point person to gather, and she'll be attending the meeting. So look forward to hearing what she has to say. As far as rec is concerned, not a whole lot going on, but there is the annual family dance. The rec set the date for March the 7th. That is 5 to 8 p.m. And the family dance, if you've never attended, is an event where families are welcome, including young children, which is why we have it timed from 5 to 8. It will be in the community center. Silly Joe will be the entertainment. And usually things like pizza, chicken nuggets are offered. So everybody has a great time, so if you're interested. And usually things are still pretty kind of wintry at that part of the year, so it's a good night out. And it'll give you something for you and your kids. The other announcement I have is that, as they usually do, the rec board will be selling tickets to the flower show. Unfortunately, the price has gone up, so the price that rec will charge for the tickets is $25. I think it's a $5 increase, but as I said, the flower show put their prices up, so we had to raise our prices to cover that. So if you're interested in flower show tickets, they ordered 100 of those. Please order them. For Paula of your desire, how many tickets you want, and the tickets are $25 each. And the only other thing I have to add is I'd like to thank Dan White and Andrea and Katie for volunteering to be reappointed to rec, and they will be there for the duration of their term. Oh, and also Dan and Katie both attended the steering committee meeting this past Monday for the Open Space Committee, had a lot of really good things to offer, so I appreciate their input, and I'm looking forward to working with them and the rest of the committee on the Open Space plan. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Councilman Boyer at this time? Hearing none, we move along to Finance and Library. Unfortunately, Peter Williamson, who usually delivers that portion of the agenda, is under the weather tonight, and he is not with us. But Councilman Boyer has agreed to present that portion of the agenda. Kevin?
So I make a motion that we pay the borough's bills for the month of December. General fund in the amount of $272,300.92. Recreation fund, $7,714.81. Nothing from liquid fuels. And for the capital fund, $242,321.82. And I make a motion that we pay the borough's bills for the month.
Second.
Motion's been made and has been seconded. Is there any discussion concerning the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the payment of the borough's bills for last month, December of 2019, in the amount specified by Councilman Boyer, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
I believe that concludes Peter's report.
I believe it does. I expect that next month that we will receive something of an update from Councilman Williamson about the progress of the borough's revenues so far into this young year. All right then. Personnel, Public Relations, and Historical Archives, Councilwoman Dixon.
Okay, so, yes. So I really have nothing to report, but I would like to mention the fact that the newspaper articles are on the Daily Times did a big spread on the B&B. And I don't know how many of you got a chance to see it, but it's really gorgeous. And the Daily and the Town Talk just recently did another thing on our mayor, and it was also on the Daily Times. But the mayor has been doing an awful lot of things, and so he's been in the newspaper a lot, which is good. But this is for the veterans. I think I got the right one for the veterans. But the publicity or the PR or the notices about what's going on in media have been really, really positive for a long time. And now we've also listed as one perfect place to live if you are over 50. But that's all right. I need to share today.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Councilwoman Dixon?
No.
I do understand that there's artworks that have been hung in the library, and a couple of them have been sold already recently.
Well, yeah, I heard that from Sandy yesterday.
Oh, good.
So.
All right then. Before we move along to public comment and privilege of the floor, I understand that Councilman Robinson has a couple of items.
Just a quick announcement.
One item that
Just a quick announcement that I totally forgot. For everyone, that Monday is Martin Luther King's Day, so borough offices and our public works will be closed. So this is very important. Trash that would normally be picked up on Monday gets picked up on Tuesday. Trash that would be picked up on Tuesday gets picked up on Wednesday. Then we're right back in the cycle again. That is very important. So that concludes my second report.
And Paul, I understand that this coming Sunday we will have our customary event at the Methodist Church.
Yes, at the Methodist Church on State Street is the Martin Luther King celebration put on by the NAACP and the Media Fellowship House. It starts at 3 o'clock, usually lasts a little bit more than an hour. We would encourage everyone who would want to come out. It's always an outstanding event. So
All are welcome.
All of them.
All right then, public comment and privilege of the floor. If there's anyone who wishes to address council at this time, please come to the microphone, tell us who you are, where you live, and what's on your mind. Yes, sir. There's the microphone right there.
Good evening, Mayor McMahon, council members. I'm here on a very positive note to give you a great big thank you
My name is Jeff Pettit. I run the Rose Trinity Optimist Club lacrosse and field hockey programs. And for 2 years in a row now, Mr. Robinson runs to me in the street and says, I have some checks for you. And thank you. You've been very generous to our program. We've used it to buy equipment, so no child, boy or girl, goes without a stick, equipment that they need. Thanks for your generosity. We'll continue to use that in very positive ways. We have about 300 kids in our program, boys and girls, about equal number from the Borough and the elementary schools in St. Mary's, all playing lacrosse. As you may know, in 2014, Pencrest won the state championship. So we're aiming to try to do that again. But I've had the privilege of coaching Mr. Boyer's son for several years, and I don't think I coached Mr. Robinson's son, but certainly was in the program. So again, I'm here to thank you very much for what you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettit.
And Jeff, I'd like to thank you for your years of commitment to the youth of the Rose Trinity School District. So it's stellar. For those that don't know, Jeff has served as a school board member for years and has been coaching the Optimist Club since, if you have the guts, go ahead and tell us. I'm going to say the
87 we started. I stopped. I didn't coach last year. It's the first time since then I stopped coaching. So I'm watching 4 of my grandchildren play in our program. So.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right then, seeing that there are no other takers on the offer, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
All right, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Good night, folks. Stay healthy. See you next month.